Good morning. No, actually, it's good afternoon. One of the comments on the last video was about raspy reeds, and on the Galanti that I'm just in the middle of doing, it's a bit of a long job, so I haven't quite got onto it quickly as I wanted to. It had some raspy reeds, and some people were asking about, could you just do a little bit of a show about how to tackle raspy reeds, which is a really good thing to try to explain. Now, as luck would have it, on this Hohner Arietta that I worked on quite a little while ago, I was playing it and I noticed it has got a raspy reed, just one. So I thought, well, actually, rather than having to wait until I get to the raspy reeds on the Galanti, I'll show you how I would fix a raspy reed on this Hohner. Right, so let's have a little think. First of all, I'll show you where the raspy reed is. So I think it's on the C sharp, the lowest C sharp. Oh, there we go. So on the push, that's very nice. On the pull, I can hear a raspiness on the pull. There. I don't know if you can hear that. It's got a raspiness to it. Now, if I put it onto the single reed, it's not there. So just telling me that it's the set of reeds tuned slightly above the concert pitch, the peak of the tremolo. That's where the problem is. So it's on the lowest C sharp, and it's on the pull. Oh, there we go. So because it's on the pull, that's telling me it's the C sharp which is being activated when you are blowing air through the reed block, because as you're pulling the bellows, what you're doing is you're pushing air through the reed blocks. Now when you push the bellows, you're sucking air out of the reed blocks because the air is going out of the accordion, if you like. So I know it's a C sharp, and I know it's when I'm pushing air through the bellows, because it's when I'm opening the bellows and when I'm pushing air through the reed blocks. So it's a lowest C sharp, so I should be able to find that particular reed and have a look and see what's going on and making it raspy. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to open it all up, I'll get the reed block out, and we'll see if we can find out just what we're looking for. So just give me a second. Okay, so I've got the reed block out. Now this on this Hohner Arietta, the black notes are on one reed block and the white notes on the other, so it's really straightforward. I have labelled my reed block already with H and L. That's when I did it last time. So I know that this is the higher set of tuned reeds, and this is the concert pitch ones. This is the ones that this H one is the one to give you the kind of tremolo. So I can actually look at my reed set here. It was the lowest C sharp, so it's going to be that one, because that's C sharp, that's D sharp, that's F sharp, G sharp, A sharp. So it's that one there, and I know it's on the pull. I was pulling the bellows. That means it's the reed that was activated when the air was blowing through the reeds, because as you pull on the bellows, you're pushing air into the reed blocks. So it's that reed there. And so it's the valve on the reed which is the one which is activated when you're blowing air through the bellows, which is this one here. So it's the valve you can see, it's the underneath reed, it's that one there, look there. Now if I look at that valve, I can see it's got a little bit of wax on it, and it does look a bit flaky. So for some reason that one hasn't quite done as well as the other ones. It's got some bit of wax caught there, and it's not quite straight, so something's happened to that valve. So what I'm going to do is take that valve off. So let's just take it off. Should be able to just pull it off. There we are, pull that one off, and I'm going to replace it. But before I replace it, I'm just going to get some fine grade sandpaper. So this is what grade am I putting on here? have a look. I think it's like 400 or something. No, 240. So I've got some 240. Let's just grab a little bit. My little box. A little bit of 240. And what I'm going to do before I put the new valve on, I'm just going to very carefully make sure there's no bits of wax or anything on that reed plate, and I'm going to just take off with my little knife any residue of glue that was on the reed block from the valve. So I'm just going to do that quickly. Actually, I just need to get a different knife. So once I've got that cleaned up, that will give me a chance to put a new valve on there. So I'm just going to clean this up as well as I can. Just a tiny bit of very gentle scraping away of the wax. Get rid of the glue. There is me. So what I'll do, I'll just clean up that and I'll come back rather than you watching all this. Hey, so I've taken the valve off, I've cleaned it up, the reed plate. I've got as much of the old glue and any wax off there as possible. So that was the valve I took off. One of them. So I've just got exactly the same valve again. I'm going to use a little bit of glue. So I use shoe glue. This is a Polish one. Bochem. B-O-C-H-E-M. It's really good for valves. So I'm just put a little bit on top of this cup here, just a little tab. Don't need very much because only one valve. And I'm going to put the glue onto the valve. Make sure my fingers are clean. And I'm going to get my little brush, and I'm going to put about a fifth of the way up the valve. So nice and carefully just put the glue on, make sure it's covering the whole width of the valve, and then I'm just going to place that on straight as I can onto the reed plate. Just put it on and then I'll show you. There we are. There we are, so it's sitting on nice and straight. And I'll leave it for a couple of minutes just for that glue to dry off a little bit, and then I'm going to trim, because on the valve you've got the black second layer, which is a bit long at the moment, so I'm going to trim that back to the same length as the other black second layers on the reed block. And I'm also going to trim the length of the valve, which is a little bit tiny bit long. It's just a bit too far over the edge of the chamber there. So I'll just leave it a couple of minutes and I'll trim it. Once I've trimmed everything back, I'll put the reed block back into the accordion and I'll show you how it sounds. Okay, so I'll do the trimming in a second. I'll put it all back in, and then the next video, next little clip, I'll just show you how the how that reed sounds. Okay, give me a second. Hello. So all done. Put the reed block back in, and this is the lowest C sharp on the pull. Sounds exactly the same as the one on the push, so that's really nice. So that's all sorted. So the reason, oh, can you see me? The reason that was raspy was that the valve wasn't opening and closing properly. It was fluttering, and so there's a bit of wax or something caught underneath one of the layers. So it wasn't really sitting flat. It wasn't just going up and down nicely. So that's a common cause of that kind of horrible raspiness. So just by taking the valve off, cleaning up the reed plate as well as you can, so nice and polished, there's no detritus on there or glue or wax or anything, and then get a brand new valve of the same type that you want to use. Put about a fifth of the length of the valve with glue, good quality glue. I use shoe glue. Stick it down, push it down nice and firmly, and just make sure you leave it for say 10 minutes just for that glue just to completely be settled, and that should be fine. Now I was really lucky because my valve that I needed to replace was on the outside because it was the inside reed. If it's the outside reed, so the valve's on the inside, if you know what I mean, that's more tricky, so you actually have to take the reed plate out. Now if like this one you've recently waxed it, you might be able to just lift up the reed plate, take off the underneath valve, clean it up, put a new valve on, and just push it back into that wax if it's soft enough, and it's generally, it works, but it might not. So if you've got a problem with that, you might have to do a bit of re-waxing of that reed. Maybe take some of the old wax off and then carefully wax around that reed as you put it back in, when you put it back in, which is a bit more tricky. So I got a bit lucky with that. Another reason that you can get raspiness is also if the reed plate isn't sitting really snugly onto the reed block, so the wax is kind of like really gripping it in, so it's kind of got a nice secure fit. That can also cause problem with the sound of the reed, but in this case it was the valve, which is a common cause of that horrible raspy noise. So that's all sorted, which is good. Here's a little tune, just because I like to play little tunes. There you are. But yeah, that's it. All nice. So that's good. All sorted. One more thing is when I was doing the Galanti, I've taken off one of the treble reed blocks. What I noticed was that the reeds were all in excellent condition, really shiny, but the reed block started to dry out. I don't know if you can see, but there's kind of little cracks on the chambers on inside here, where the wood has just got really dry. Can you see? So what I've done is I've just got some super glue, and I've just carefully put some super glue into those cracks just to seal them up, so you don't get air going through the crack from one reed chamber to the one on the other side, because you don't really want to have that happening, because it will just change the sound. So I've just put some little bits of super glue into those gaps just to kind of seal it all up. There we are. Right, that's that for today. Hope that's helpful with raspy reeds. Okay.